6 months. That's all it takes to change your whole life, in the best way. I've watched people waste 6 months stuck in the same spot, chasing the right time that never comes. But give me 6 months of pure focus, no excuses, no distractions, and you'll start to see your finances, health, and mindset shift faster than you imagined. But it starts by cutting the noise, those mindless scrolls, the late-night distractions, the people who drain more than they give. I always say, 6 months of seriousness will buy you decades of freedom. When I first decided to change my life, I made a promise to myself. No more waiting. I cut the TV, set my alarm earlier, and got serious about my habits. I started reading for an hour a day. Books like Think and Grow Rich, The Slight Edge, and Atomic Habits. I wrote my goals down every morning and tracked my wins every night. That 6-month stretch felt like a personal boot camp, but man, it paid off tenfold. Here's what most people miss. 6 months go by either way. The question is, what did you build while time passed? I've watched folks build businesses, lose 50 pounds, stack 5 figures in savings, just because they treated time like gold. They stopped saying one day and decided day one was now. There's something magical about urgency. It turns your shoulds into musts and lights a fire you didn't know was in you. And you don't need fancy resources to begin. Start with what you've got: a journal, a quiet hour, a clear goal. Use YouTube to learn, your phone's calendar to plan, and free resources online to grow. All you need is hunger and a plan. Because once you taste what focused intensity feels like, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. And that's when something even more powerful starts to happen. You don't win just by wanting it. You win by thinking differently. That's the real game changer. Winners don't wait around for motivation to strike like lightning. They build routines that run even when they feel off. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't need to feel excited to do it, you just do it. That shift from feelings to systems is what separates those who wish from those who win. Discipline isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. I used to be the guy who needed to feel in the mood, but I learned to treat every day like a brick. Stack enough bricks and you build a wall. Wake up early, move your body, read something sharp, and take one step toward your goal. Every single day. That's how momentum is built. Not by magic, but by habit. I once mentored a young man who wanted to grow his business. He was all in, for a week. Then came the slump. I told him, "You're relying on emotions. Winners rely on systems." We created a structure. Calls before noon, planning at night, journaling before bed. 2 months in, his business doubled. Not because he worked harder, but because he thought sharper. That's the mental edge. The truth is, your mind either works for you or against you. The ones who rise? They train their thinking like an athlete trains their body. They guard their inputs, question their assumptions, and feed their mind with clarity, not confusion. And once that switch flips, something bigger starts to click into place, and that leads right into the next step. Goals only work when they're clear. That's a principle most folks skip, and it costs them years. Saying I want to be rich isn't a goal, it's a wish. But saying I want to earn $10,000 a month through digital products in the next 6 months, now that's a target. When I started writing my goals like that, things stopped feeling vague and started becoming real. Precision gives power. I remember writing down, "Speak on 10 stages this year." That changed the way I used my calendar, my energy, even my emails. I wasn't just hoping anymore. I had direction. Every Sunday, I reviewed those goals. I measured, adjusted, and kept moving. That kind of structure creates accountability, and accountability is where transformation begins. No fluff. Just numbers, dates, and action. Vague goals produce vague effort. If someone tells me they want to lose weight, I ask what that means exactly. 15 pounds? In 3 months? Through what? Walking, strength training, fasting? Clarity shapes your plan. Write it down. Make it measurable. Post it on your wall. Track it daily. I've met people who change their income, their body, and their mindset with nothing but a pen, paper, and consistency. It's not about being perfect. It's about being specific. Think like a builder. A builder doesn't say, "Let's build something nice." He shows you blueprints. You need blueprints for your life. You need numbers, deadlines, and checkpoints. And once that's in place, the only thing left is putting those plans into motion every single day with no hesitation. Planning feels good, but execution is what changes your life. I've seen people make beautiful vision boards, color-coded calendars, and detailed spreadsheets, and still go nowhere, because nothing moves until you move. The winners, they don't wait for everything to be perfect. They take action, even if it's messy. And the funny part is that messy action often teaches more than any perfect plan ever could. I used to overthink every step. I'd spend weeks preparing the ideal strategy, and by the time I was ready, the opportunity had passed. Then I changed my rule. Take action within 24 hours of planning. If I thought of a business idea, I made the first call the same day. If I wanted to build a new habit, I started that morning. The more I executed, the more confident I became. Execution creates momentum. It's like pushing a heavy ball. Slow at first, but once it starts rolling, it gets easier to keep going. I knew a woman who planned her online business for months. I told her, "Forget perfect. Launch it ugly, fix it live." She made her first $500 in a week. That small win gave her the fuel to keep building. Action creates results. Results create belief. Belief changes everything. Emotions lie. Discipline tells the truth. Some days you won't feel like showing up, and that's exactly when you must. Set the task and finish it, whether you feel like it or not. Because the habit of execution will carry you farther than any burst of inspiration ever could. And once that rhythm takes over, there's only one thing left to master next. Time slips away from those who don't command it. I've watched entire years vanish from people's lives, not because they were lazy, but because they didn't have a grip on the clock. They let their days be filled with randomness, reacting to life instead of designing it. Time mastery begins with structure. When your schedule reflects your priorities, results follow like clockwork. One thing that changed everything for me was blocking time for specific tasks. Mornings became sacred, reading, writing, and planning before the world had a chance to interrupt. I stopped checking messages before noon and reclaimed my focus. Those hours became my secret weapon. It's not about being busy, it's about being intentional. 1 hour of clarity beats 10 hours of chaos. I've met people who feel overwhelmed every day, and when we sit down, their calendars are empty. No wonder stress runs the show. I tell them to start by mapping the day, morning, afternoon, evening, with purpose. Insert deep work time, breaks, learning blocks, remove time wasters. Even something as simple as deleting 2 useless apps can shift the way a person lives and thinks. When you begin to treat your time like money, you start investing it differently. You cut out low-return activities and focus on things that move the needle. A book that sharpens your skills, a workout that boosts your energy, a conversation that sparks opportunity. Time doesn't stretch, it compresses. And once you feel what it's like to own your day, you won't go back to drifting. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when the mood is nowhere to be found. It's waking up when the bed feels warm, working out when the couch looks tempting, and finishing tasks when your mind craves distraction. I didn't always have it. But once I stopped negotiating with my feelings, my results started stacking up. Discipline isn't about pressure, it's about freedom earned through consistency. I treated discipline like a muscle. At first, it was weak, but I trained it daily. Small commitments, done without fail. Reading 10 pages, drinking water, saying no to one impulse. Those tiny wins became a streak, and the streak turned into a standard. Eventually, the noise of temptation got quieter. Not because life got easier, but because I got stronger. There was a period I made non-negotiables for myself. Workout before. Breakfast. No phone until after reading. Plan my top 3 tasks the night before. It wasn't glamorous, but it worked. People around me said I was becoming robotic, but I was becoming free. I wasn't controlled by moods anymore. I was guided by principle, and that made me unstoppable. The beautiful part about discipline is that it compounds. 1 week of following through builds confidence. 1 month builds identity. You look in the mirror and don't just see someone trying, you see someone becoming. And once that identity forms, something deeper starts to shift inside you, and that opens the door to a new level entirely. Raising your standards is where real change begins. Most people live stuck, not because they lack talent, but porque aceito menos do que merecem. I used to say things like, "This is good enough," until I realized that mindset was keeping me small. The day I decided to expect more from myself, everything changed. I stopped settling and started climbing. I looked at every area of my life, health, income, mindset, and asked what the next level looked like. Then eu me comprometi com esse nível como se minha vida dependesse disso. I started dressing better, thinking sharper, reading deeper. I stopped spending time with people who pulled me down. Standards aren't about being perfect. They're about refusing to stay average. Success isn't just about working harder. It's about demanding more from your time, your effort, and your environment. I knew a guy who tripled his income in 6 months just by changing his circle and cutting lazy habits. He didn't get a new degree or a secret strategy. He just stopped tolerating mediocrity, and the world adjusted to meet his new energy. Raising your standards creates friction at first. It forces you to let go of comforts and excuses. But that discomfort is growth in motion. Every time you choose the harder road, you're proving to yourself that you're not here to play small. And once that becomes your default, the next transformation begins to take shape, quietly and powerfully. The strongest force in the world isn't muscle. It's mindset. I've seen people with all the tools fail because their thoughts were working against them. Doubt crept in, fear took over, and before long, they quit. A resilient mindset isn't something you're born with. It's forged in pressure. I had to train my thoughts like a warrior sharpens a blade. Over time, my inner voice shifted from "I hope" to "I will." I remember going through rough seasons, financial hits, lost opportunities, even betrayal. What saved me wasn't luck, it was perspective. I told myself, this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. That shift turned every setback into a stepping stone. Instead of folding, I adapted. That kind of thinking turns obstacles into fuel, and that fuel keeps you moving long after motivation fades. Your environment matters too. I started feeding my mind like it was my most valuable asset. Audiobooks while driving, motivational speeches in the morning. I surrounded myself with people who saw the best in me, not the worst. I stopped entertaining negative voices, internal and external. Protecting your mind isn't optional, it's survival. A sharp mind in a noisy world is your greatest weapon. And once your mindset becomes unshakable, your actions begin to mirror that power. You start standing taller, speaking with certainty, making decisions with confidence. Nothing outside can break what you've built inside. And when your mind hits that level of clarity and strength, something incredible happens. You begin to execute at a speed most people can't even comprehend. All the books, plans, and mindset shifts mean nothing if you don't move. Relentless execution is the final key. It's not about getting it perfect. It's about getting it going. The best don't hesitate. They don't wait for confidence to show up. They act, and confidence follows. When you stop overthinking and start doing, everything changes. I've watched ordinary people do extraordinary things just because they moved faster than their excuses. They launched the business, filmed the video, made the call, and it wasn't clean or perfect. But they kept moving, and that motion became momentum. Action creates clarity. And when you're unclear, movement reveals the next step every single time. Speed doesn't mean rushing, it means responding with urgency. I knew a guy who sat on a course idea for 6 months. Another guy launched his in 1 week. Guess who's thriving today? The one who acted. Execution isn't sexy, it's gritty. It's showing up when you're tired, saying no to distractions and doing what most people avoid. When you make execution a lifestyle, progress becomes automatic. You stop starting over and start compounding wins. It becomes your edge. While others plan, you build. While they doubt, you deliver. And once this rhythm becomes who you are, the world starts to respond to your energy in ways you never imagined. Now that you've seen the blueprint, the only thing left is doing the work. Not thinking about it, not planning one day, doing it today. You already know what 6 months of intensity can create. So what's holding you back? Nothing but old habits and old stories that no longer serve you. The version of you who executes, without excuse, is already waiting. You just have to step into it. Stop convincing yourself that you're not ready. You've got everything you need to start building the life you want. The time to rise is now, because while the world keeps spinning and distractions keep calling, the ones who change everything are the ones who move. This is your shot to stop, repeating the same month 12 times and finally live a year that counts. So tell me, what are you willing to do for the next 6 months? What part of your routine are you ready to change? Drop it in the comments. Let me know your commitment. Your words might be the spark someone else needs to take action too. Let's create a space where excuses die and standards rise. And if this message lit a fire inside you, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. There's more coming, more tools, more truth, more power. We're just getting started, and I want you right here for every step of the journey.